Hey, I'm Mary Adkins. I'm author of the novels When You Read This, Privilege, and Palm Beach, and I also started the Book Incubator. Good writing doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be unpleasant. It doesn't have to be a slog. I really try to help writers find that sweet spot of being in the flow and letting creativity take the wheel so that they aren't feeling like they're in charge and they're constantly pulling a heavy piece of luggage up a hill. In 2011, I was a very unhappy lawyer living in Manhattan. And one of the reasons I was so unhappy was that I didn't have time to write. So I quit my job after only 7 months, and I decided I was gonna write a novel. Over the years that I was trying to write this novel, revise this novel, figure out how to get it published, I felt like I was always hobbling together these workshops and classes I was taking. You know, there would be a class on writing, and then a class on revising, and then a class on finding a literary agent. And it was really like I was the cruise director of my own writing career, but I wasn't qualified to be a cruise director. Like, I didn't even know what I didn't know yet. So after When You Read This came out, I wanted to create the writing program that I wished I had had when I was first working on a novel. A writing program where I would learn a process for writing that taught me to honor my own vision over other people's opinions while still helping me improve at my craft. Because of course, I didn't know, all of the craft knowledge that I would gain over the years. I mean, that was all really valuable. But you want to gain that craft knowledge and that craft expertise, not at the expense of trusting your own taste and your own vision. And that is, I think, a balance that is difficult to strike, and that a lot of writing programs inadvertently, they're well-meaning, but they don't strike that balance well. I wanted to create a program that would walk writers through all of this from start to finish, so that it would be the last writing program they would ever need. They wouldn't have to go out and find an editor after this. They wouldn't have to go out and find a class on querying or on publishing, because it would all be included.
I chose to join the Book Incubator because I was supremely frustrated, just beyond frustrated. And when I get frustrated, I'm not having a good time. And I think one of the reasons I was really frustrated was because I had this dream of writing a book, and I've had it for years, and I just wasn't making the kind of progress that I myself thought I should be making. So anything that saves me a lot of time is precious. And let me tell you, writing a book can take forever. And so after working years and years and years on my book and just not making enough progress, I was really, really grateful to be able to go into the incubator and make progress at light speed, because otherwise, I feel like I would not be getting all the traction that I am now on my work. And then two, like, all the progress I made within the incubator within a year could have easily taken 5, right? And so I'm just maybe 10, I don't know. So I'm just really happy because I think the incubator is a great time saver, and it really gets me to my dreams faster. I love being on the fast track. There's one thing I learned in the program that really changed my approach to writing, and that's the specific lesson Mary taught. She says, if you're feeling what you're writing, your readers are gonna feel it too. And so now I go through the emotions of my book. If I'm writing a really exciting scene, I get excited while writing it, and that does translate on the page. And I let myself feel the emotions of my book, and I think that 1, it leads to a better product, but 2, it leads to a better writing experience overall.
I'm an award-nominated screenwriter, so I'm a semi-finalist in the Nashville Film Festival. I also placed as a quarterfinalist at the Austin Film Festival, as well as the Filmatic Comedy Awards this past year. I've always been somebody who's loved storytelling, and I had written plays before, but when I joined Mary, I thought it was a great opportunity to work with somebody who is a published author and get to know a little bit more about this other industry of prose writing and publishing. But then along the way, I was so inspired by the strategies and philosophies that Mary shared in the program. and also by what writers in the program were achieving. That some of these people who had been dreaming of writing books for 5, 10, 20 years were now finally writing their books. They were writing drafts of their books, they were revising them, and they were starting to query agents and publishers. And I was so inspired by this. I thought, well, you know, if all of these people who never thought that they could do this are now achieving their dreams and finally writing their books, why can't I? So now I've actually started working on my own novel, which has been super fun, and just learning how to write with joy has been a really great experience. And I learned that writing a novel or a memoir doesn't have to be this untouchable thing that is only something that the best of the best can do well, and only the best of the best can get their books published. You know, I can just have fun writing a book and get my draft done and take it from there. And from there, I'll keep making it better, but I don't have to put so much pressure on myself to make every word perfect as soon as I get it on the page. And that's something that has been a game changer for me as a writer and a creative. And I don't know if I ever would have had that creative epiphany had it not been just from working with Mary and picking up all of these wonderful mindset shifts through osmosis of just being around her and around other writers in the program.
So for me, honestly, it's been a life-changing experience. I mean, that's the only way I can describe it. You know, I think about it all the time. I know I would not be where I am today had I not found Mary in the program. I'm sure of it. I got lost down the black rabbit hole of the internet. When I had my first manuscript completed, it was prior to finding Mary in the program. And, you know, I was like, what do I do next? And so when I would research things, for every do, there was a don't. I stumbled across Mary's name in one of the forums, in one of the groups, and I started checking her out, and I had never heard of a writing coach. Like, I was like, oh, they have writing coaches? Like, what do they do? And so I started researching her as well as other coaches out there, but there was something in my gut that just really clicked with Mary. I liked her philosophy, I liked her personality, I liked her demeanor. I liked that Mary wants you to find what works for you. It's not a one script works, do it this way or it won't work way. The conference and the classes that I had attended, they were very, very stringent on that. And Mary is very of the school, find what works for you. Right? She shows all these different ways to do things and try them out. Doesn't work? Don't do it. You know, it kind of reminds me of a mom telling their little kid, try the bite of the fish. If you don't like it, don't eat it again, right? But try it because maybe you will like it and then maybe it'll work for you and then you found something new. And I like that it's just very geared towards what works for you. It has really changed my life. I have a community of writers that I know I could not have found.
I think the spirit of the Book Incubator is ease and abundance. I would walk them through the whole thing, from the first page of their first draft, to revising that draft, to revising it again, to getting feedback and incorporating that feedback in a way that still honored their vision, to getting an editorial read from an expert, because that is an important piece, so I wanted that to be included, to querying literary agents if they want to traditionally publish. I didn't want there to be any stone unturned that they would then have to go out and figure out for themselves.
The year-long program just teaches you everything you need to know about writing a book. I mean, everything. From the big question, to how to revise, to how to use grammar properly, point of view, editing, querying an agent. I mean, I liken it to like a shopping mall, right? It's a one-stop shop for everything that you need of how to write a novel. You know, you can go in this store and pick out the grammar lesson. You can go in this store and you get point of view lessons. And you go to this one and you learn how to drive the plot forward. You go to this one, you learn how to do tension. You learn the different mindsets of a writer and a reader and editing mode and revising mode. And it's just, you get everything housed in one nice package.
I've always been told, and I agree, that writing is a very solitary endeavor, and it has to be in some ways, but the incubator makes you feel not alone, and that there are people out there, even though you're sitting at home or wherever I'm writing, you feel out there, I have this group or family that they're going through what I'm going through. I'm having a day where inspiration is down the block with somebody else. It's not in my house. And I know that there's somebody else, you know, that's going through that. It brings something I didn't think was possible. For people that meet Mary, you feel like you've known her forever. It's as my grandmother would say, she's an old soul. She's somebody that you sit with and go, goodness, you know, I can really connect. And then she introduces you to like-minded people, and you develop a family. You develop and you know, what better life than a family of writers?
Stories are about being human, and that's the biggest value that we have as a writer to bring to our writing, is that we know what it feels like to be a human, and ultimately that's why we're doing this, is to convey those feelings, and so that we can connect with a reader who, through our story, will also be able to access some of those same feelings. I mean, it's kind of a magical thing in a way, that like feelings can be transferred across a medium that's just a piece of paper with some letters on it. And that's why I think it's so cool what we do.